This is taking the piss, right? Did the volume just cut out? No, it didn't. Oh, Chatty is not logged in. Okay. Sorry. I knew there was something. Alright, let's try that again. Yeah, and I'm glad it instantly works once I do log in. That's very good news. Yeah, no, streaming. There are like 10 pre-flight checks I have to do. Something I could always forget. So like just now, I also forgot to turn the laptop charger on, and now I just forgot to log into the chat app, which gives me a notification and a ding sound every time a message comes through, so I can just instantly reply to it. Cool. Camera is all good. Microphone, check. 1 2 1 2. Travel back. And welcome to session 18. So I'm aware I'm not on top of VODs at all at the moment. I think my last one is 14, so I'll definitely today, because it's beginning to pile up, I'm definitely going to go through and sort that out. So it's going to be all up to date. Next session is going to be tomorrow, also in the morning, although I want to watch House. It's at 2 p.m. my time every weekday, and so on weekdays I have to finish before 2 p.m. Sounds simple, right? But I mean, I keep failing to get to bed on time, and then I'll be like, oh, 11 a.m., 12 p.m., 1 p.m. for starting the session. Like this one was supposed to be 11 a.m. And if I start at 1 p.m., I have like 50 minutes to work before House. Slightly more, sorry. Yeah, which is not ideal. But on the other hand, because we are just doing more debugging, we should just be able to get a few bugs out today and then come back to it tomorrow and do a few more bugs tomorrow, and just keep the vibe going that way, and just keep it all going. And so I'm not too bothered about the fact I've only given myself 1 hour. I'll be back tomorrow. I said 11:30. I want to give myself a chance to get up on time. I need to get up like an hour earlier than the stream starts. Should not be so hard, right? But my motivation is just so bad in the morning in particular. In the evening I can kind of do it, but in the evening I end up wasting more time setting it up, I think. I don't know. Anyway, welcome to session 18. So, top right of my Twitch page under the actual stream, you can see a summary of where I am. And so I'm debugging part B of project 2 out of 4. The previous session was interesting. So, I had a few sessions where I was just implementing. I was just writing out the code for parts. For part B, yeah. I mean, part A is done. So for part B, I was writing out the code, yeah. For a few sessions, and then the previous session I started debugging, which means trying to. Basically, my goal is to pass all the tests. So when I run go test, so this is just initialize, like set the path and everything. When I run all the tests for question 2b, actually I just run them in console, then my goal is for all of this to just return pass. Right, this is going to fail after a bit of a mess. It's going to fail. Yeah, see, it failed the first test. It failed the first test here. Failed to reach agreement. And then the second test did not even fail, it literally crashed the program. You can see here. So yeah, worst case, program crashes. Okay case, test fails. What we want is test to succeed and part B of project 2, there are 7 tests, and so this is just the second one that caused the crash. I think the first one, yeah, 2B1 is the first one, the one that failed, and then 2B is 2B2, and that test just crashed here. So yeah, basically my goal is to get it to the point where I can run the full test suite for part 2B and get it working. So I'll show you. I can already run the full test suite for part 2A, the bit that I've already done, and I'll just demonstrate that now. And also, obviously, I can just run all of the individual tests as well. So 2A1, 2A2, 2B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So just once we take a look at this, once it finishes, you know, when this returns, I'll just show you guys what a successful test looks like. So here it is. It has a lot of debug notation up, so my print statements telling me how the program is working. You know, test 1 passes here. So just trying to figure out what's going on here. So when it says passed, is that from... God, see, I thought I had a handle on how all this is working, but now even I'm getting confused. Hang on. Ah. Ooh. That is a lot of sunlight. That's going to mess up my exposure, isn't it? I just minimized the camera by accident there, sorry. I mean, I can barely see the damn screen. Oh, okay, it looks okay. But that is a lot of really sudden sunlight. Don't know what to make of that. Anyway, focus. Where did it say passed? It doesn't seem to... Huh? Okay, let me just put in a few enters here, to just space out the log slightly. Because I'm getting slightly confused because, well, I'll explain in a sec when I go through it and explain what the test is doing. Okay. Oh, okay, so the test passes, but then it just keeps going for a bit, for some reason. Okay, that's nothing to worry about. That's nothing to worry about. Yeah, okay, so let me just summarize what happened in the last stream. It was a bit strange. I start by debugging my current code, my 2B code, my part B code. Predictably, it immediately fails a test and starts crashing, one of the tests for part 2B itself. And then I go through and fix some of these crashes, and in doing so notice some sort of design errors for the first part. And I get to fixing those, and then I run the tests for the first part and they fail. And then I'm like, oh, maybe some of those decisions I made for the first part were wrong, let me just change them, change my mind. And to be fair, you know, one of the changes I made, which was telling a candidate if it loses an election, it should become a follower instead of becoming a candidate again. That was a fairly big design decision. The reason being that if it's a follower, it then respects the normal election timeout. Candidate, it was just starting an election immediately. Follower not only respects the timeout, but also allows itself to be interrupted via election resets coming from heartbeats if there's a new leader, or vote requests if there's a new candidate, giving the other person, the other server, a chance to take the lead, or to actually do its vote before it itself casts, before the follower itself starts its own vote and causes mayhem. So I was quite happy to have actually made that change. On the other hand, it didn't fix the problem, predictably, and then I find out after a bit of wrangling that the problem was actually that the test suite was broken, because I could run the individual tests, 2A1 and 2A2, and they both passed, but running them together failed, and then it turned out that Go basically runs tests in the same process, and so you can't actually exit a concurrent program between tests, and so the program that was being run in the first test was interfering with the second test and giving the wrong output, and therefore the second test was failing, which is not like this. Like, in this day and age, to have that kind of thing happen with a testing suite is just not like this. So, yeah, I fixed that. The way that I fixed it is there's a section in the code that allows you to run routines to kill the program. But obviously it's not possible to kill a concurrent program if you can't exit the process. So what I had to do was lock all three of they have locks on the state variables, and because the state variables are used extensively, locking them basically breaks them pretty quickly. Not immediately, but fast enough. And then I put in a 2-second delay, and after the 2-second delay, my program posts a message saying clear. Right, so here there's a pass. Here there's a pass, some shit happens, and eventually it gets to the point where it can run my kill code, which locks the individual servers in the way that I've just described. And then it says 0 test clear, for example, because it managed to lock 0, and 0 hasn't done anything, you can see immediately. All of the stuff that's happening here is being done by 2 and 1. Right, so 0 immediately got locked, and after 2 seconds, 0 test clear. And then you can see 2 is also okay. I think it actually, reading this, I think it sequentially locks 0 and then 1 and then 2. That's just a theory, but I'm not sure, because after 0 test clear, 1 stops working. You can see 2 is the only thing that's doing stuff. And so after 2 seconds, 1 is clear. And then 2 as well stops posting, and then I think after 2 seconds 2 gets cleared as well. And then only after that do we have the initialization of the second thing, and because these are completely locked up, they do not interfere anymore. And so we can run tests one after the other as normal, which you would have expected to just be able to do immediately, but MIT, Go, terrible, terrible, terrible fuckeries. So never mind. Anyway, that's a summary for what happened in the last stream. We good. We managed to survive all that. So I'm gonna just continue on, and well, basically I'm back to square one. So I've gone into the 2A, the part A tests, sorted the testing mechanism, like fully fixed up the tests so the tests work properly. And my code for part A has been gone over, and I've fixed bits of it, and that also works, and it passes all the tests. So the current code passes the part A tests, and so now I'm back to where I was in the first place, failing the part B tests, and I'm going to do what I was doing at the beginning of the previous session, namely debugging the part B failures. So that's just how it goes. I'm going to do that now. The one thing I want to do first is see if I do this, can I watch this file get made? We'll need to charge that phone. No, wait, I can't do that. It's just not going to work, is it? Yeah, the file is just, it got deleted and is now, oh, it doesn't live update, does it? Okay, I shouldn't do that. Okay, what I'm going to do instead is go test run. I'm going to just run one of the tests, and I'm going to run it in the console, because I want to see how my kill procedure works live. So I want to see if it's like 1 and then 2 and then 3. So 0 test clear, 2 seconds later 1, 2 seconds later 2. Okay. Yeah, it works sequentially. It closes them one after the other, with a 2-second delay between each one. Which I suppose is fair enough. I may as well just leave it to do that. And then once all the kill functions have returned, it just writes pass, which is okay. Yeah, it says pass, but with an inflated time, which admittedly I can. The only way I can get rid of that, I guess, is if I get rid of the delays between the locks, but I'm not sure I want to do that. I'd rather benchmark it for time later on. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Like, if some of the tests fail just because it's too slow and no other reason, then it could be the 2 seconds that it's taking me to kill each of the instances of Raft between each test, and that's determined here in this function. It says see time sleep for 2 seconds, which is probably a bit too much sleeping because it seems to be completely, clearing them without problem after 2 seconds, because literally every step basically requires access to the thing that's getting locked when it's getting killed. So say I cut it down to 1 second just for now, I'm being slightly perfectionist. Then what will happen is this 9.6 time will become more like 6.4. Yeah, and it would come down to 3.6 if I stopped waiting, but that would make it more likely that there'd be interference between the tests. Or would it? I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe I should just get rid of the delay completely. But for now, the delay is there. Okay, all good. So let's actually get to work doing what we were supposed to be doing, which is, I hate how clear it doesn't actually delete anything, it just sets it to the top. That really pisses me off. I can scroll up and everything is just... Anyway, let's get on with actually debugging, so let's do a bit of debugging. I have another 40 minutes left, and I should be able to squash some bugs in that time. Where is my, whoops. Just a quick. Camera, mic, yep. Just a quick message in the chat in order to be able to split up the video later on a bit more easily if I want to. I just tend to put in these messages to sort of partition the video up. Well, let's find the first bug. So I'm running the tests for part B. First test. Does the first test pass? Well, no. The first test also crashes quite often, unfortunately. Append entries, line 43. So what we're looking at is another one of these errors that I've been dealing with all day, to be honest. Well, yes, 2 days ago, last time. Index out of range, slice bounds out of range in this case, and just having good assertions for those. So where the error is happening now is line 43. So the bit where we append the payload is causing problems. What I really want here is a Python style. You know how in Python, if you have slice out of bounds, it should, I think it does in principle, just clip your slice indices to the, basically it takes the intersection of what you said and what is possible. So it takes what you said within what is possible and clips extreme slice indices so that your the thing that you get is what is available, and it doesn't throw an error even if your index was out of range. Whereas here it throws an error, so I think I would like it to be more like Python in that sense. So maybe just, I have to do my own manual checks, I guess, to see that we have the slice bounds in range. So okay, the problem is this is what the slice bounds are, right? Args entries. And that smells of shit outside. And just as I said that, a bunch of flies came in, of course. Lovely smell in here at the moment. I wonder if a dog just took a shit outside my window, I wouldn't be surprised. after some of the shit I've been saying about how I would do it to neighbors just to get them to shut up and close their windows. But I never did it. Yeah, so the end bound is always just I'm going to the end of. I'm appending. Yeah, this is in this step. What we're doing is appending entries that don't already exist, basically. And so we append to the end, but the beginning is determined by what the previous thing is that exists. And so, what's a nice and simple way of doing this that will actually work? I mean, I'm gonna make it easier for myself and put in slightly more information at the point of crash about what the indices are, what the log looks like. In fact, I can probably just print the log, first of all. Print the full set of... So this is the original log that the follower has, the current state of that. Then I'm going to print the stuff that the leader just sent that needs to be appended. So we're going to check those and see that they agree and are compatible with each other. And then what I'm going to do is, because I know prevlog index as well, okay, I'm going to log prevlog index, which tells me this is the index of the entry before the 0 entry in entries on the indexing convention of the log. God, the smell is... What the hell is that? I don't want to close my window. There's just so much sunlight now, and I have this fan that's keeping my laptop working. Yeah, I can survive. Oh, my stomach hurts now. So basically, every server in Raft has a log, and everything in the log conforms. You know, they agree completely, which means they have the same indices, and the index in the log is like an important property of an entry because it's, you know, there's consensus. All the servers agree on what that should be. So entries is the leader sending a part of its log to the follower, and that is 0 indexed with the first bit that it sends. But then it also sends prevlog index, which says relative to the logs of everyone, what would be the index of the entry before the first entry in entries. So that's how we can kind of compare the incoming data with the log. And so I've probably just indexed this wrong or something. So I'm gonna just debug it this way, and I think honestly that should totally sort it out. Okay, so let's run the test with that print statement in it. Let me just quickly... I have a feeling the camera is slightly out of focus. I'm just gonna... Yeah, even sort of my budging backwards can sometimes unfocus the camera. But, alright, microphone's good, camera is good. Yep. So again, test 2b1. Let's see what these 3 print statements tell us when it crashes. So crash is happening at the same point, presumably. Append entries line 43. Line 43. What? How is a print statement crashing it? Oh, I've not saved. Lol. Ugh. Fuckeries. What the hell happened outside for that smell to be coming through? I feel like I'm dying. I'm gonna get like cholera or something. Airborne cholera is clearly a thing, isn't it? Bloody hell. Yeah, Chav Estate, not very livable in London, obviously. It's like Victorian sewage and whatever. Build failed? What? Oh, sorry. My bad. Surely saving it should have... Oh, I don't know, maybe it just... Never mind. The static analyzer, maybe I just wasn't looking, but I didn't see any problems. Oh, it's kidding me, right? It fucking passed the test. No, it didn't. It didn't pass the test, but it didn't crash either. I want it to crash. So these tests, because this is a like highly distributed concurrent thing, the tests pass and fail in different ways depending on RNG essentially. So yeah, RNG testing is a thing. At the point where it crashes, I just want to introspect what's going on. So first of all, I logged the log, and the log looks like this. It has two entries in it, one of which is just the default entry at the 0 position, and the other of which is the first actual entry in the log. So you can see here, term 4, this is term 4, I'm pretty sure. In term 4, we have the actual payload entry, which is 100. So this is what this notation means. The log is a list of fly. The log is a list of log entry structs. We'll inhale this fly, I don't care. It's a flea actually. The log is a list of log entry structs, and the struct is the first entry is the term when the data was received, and the second entry is what the data is itself. So this is the term the leader received it. So whatever thinks it's the leader in term 4 received that piece of data. Cool. Append entries comes through. Here it is. It is completely empty. There are no entries in this particular append entries. Prevlog index is 0. Should prevlog, okay, in this situation where the entries variable is completely empty, prevlog index gets set to 0 because that is the default for an integer. Whether or not we want it to be 0, that's why it's getting set to 0. And that's going to cause a crash here, I guess, because the length of the log is 2. And then I subtract off prevlog index, which is 0, plus 1, which is 1. So I start entries at 1, and that's out of range because there are no entries. Maybe prevlog index should be defaulting to 1. I don't think so, though, because what if it's then sending the next piece of data? No, that's just wrong. No, I think I think I'm off by 1 here. Okay, so in this situation, yeah, we're sending empty entries. We're not sending any entries. God, yeah, my stomach. This is not because of the shit outside. My stomach was just hurt slightly today for some reason. The smell. This is empty, which means, you know, we've already passed the merge phase where conflicts are resolved. Prevlog index on an empty send should be 0 in principle, because should it though? Empty sends are just different, you know, they don't have any data in them, and so they should probably be handled as a special case. So at the point here where I'm this is just the follower handling it, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, if there should probably be another another property, another parameter that is sent via append entries that says, is there actual data included in this or not? But the thing is, I mean, surely, no, I mean, the leader should just be able to send nothing. And if the leader sends nothing, that just means that relative to the leader next index, as in the index of the log to send to this particular follower, if it's receiving nothing, that means the next index must be out of range of the data, and so yeah, you get sent nothing. The previous log index can be whatever. Here it's saying it's 0. Let me see if I can just get some inspiration from the blueprints for how to resolve this. Like, what should the previous log index be by default if it's not sending any data? Well, yeah, you have to set index of log entry immediately preceding new ones. Let me see if I can just, in the sender of append entries, previous log index is set. So I need to just check how I'm setting it. Well, you say it's set in the sender. I don't see it being set. Where is it set? Oh yeah, it's send. Sorry, it's sent. It's set in the thing that calls the sender. Sorry, slightly distracted because of the loud Middle Eastern family outside. I think that's Arabic. I'm not sure. Yeah, there's this family that just kind of lives on the street in my estate, and so when they pipe up, it can be a bit distracting. All right, prevlog index is set here. It's set in every, even if nothing is being sent. You see, args entries, this is the standard situation. If next index is less than the length of the log,